Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us for another At Odds pod. Jake Ashton is by my side. We've given Sam Farley the week off, so we have no dreadful banter from our Southwest-based football punter. But don't worry, we've got the usual features, and we've got a bet or two to chat about for you guys. Jake, reflecting on what to me feels like the first really big weekend of football in a weird way since the World Cup. To me, like there are clashes all over the show. I mean, managers at risk. Bournemouth could go bottom, by the way, this weekend, and Gary O'Neill's 25-1 to lose his job. Just on a side note, Jake, we've got West Ham playing Everton. That looks like a lose and you lose your job. Southampton, I think, are doing okay now. They seem to have turned things around. But Leeds, there's been rumblings this week. Jesse March could be facing the boot. If I had to press you, who do you think gets a sack this weekend?
Oh, that is a big question.
Brendan Rodgers?
I think pressing me, I'm going to say Frank Lampard. That's going to be my shout. Because I feel that West Ham will get the win over Everton, which would be, I'm going to say 6-pointer, but every game, it seems like a 6-pointer with them bottom clubs at the minute. I know that the cliche used to be used like once or twice a season, but it just seems so tight down there. Like, I can't believe how close it is. And there is literally a list of like 7 or 8 clubs that can go down, and it's mental. I mean, Palace, thankfully for Palace, I don't think you're in much danger of getting dragged into it, but
I think we needed that point earlier in the week, which we got, thankfully. A team that I think could be playing for a point could be Chelsea here, who go away to Liverpool, Jake. This is a huge clash for differing reasons it would normally be. You know, you think back in our lifetimes, the memories between these two clubs, the Champions League epic battles, the Steven Gerrard slip, Demba Ba running through, Jose going crazy on the touchline. Do you think the prices are right for this game? I think Liverpool are very, very short for what they've done so far. They were horrendous against Brighton. They're 5-6. The draw 11-4. Chelsea 3-1. What are your thoughts?
Now, listen, Buzz, I agree with you fully. I saw that Brighton game, I saw the highlights of the game, and Liverpool just looked absolutely terrible. I know that we and other pundits and other fans of football have looked at Trent Alexander-Arnold and seen his defensive vulnerabilities, but the third goal, the Welbeck goal, I watched that back and he's just stood on the edge of the area and just not even bothered running back. And it's just crazy that the attitude just doesn't seem like a Jurgen Klopp team. I know that maybe it's been a case of Liverpool in the past 3 or 4 years have really kicked on and just looked incredible, and maybe they just come into a style where now they're just a good team. You can't always keep that form, but I'm going for Liverpool to win this game, actually, because as much as they may be in struggling form, Anfield does still seem like a bit of a fortress, especially when the fans can fully get up for it. And they've not lost at home now for 5 home games. And again, 12:30 kickoff. The fans will be up for this one. And Chelsea, as we're saying that Liverpool have been performing quite poorly in the past few weeks, I don't even know how you can describe how Chelsea have been performing. I mean, your team, Palace, that Chelsea-Palace game was just a bit... They didn't have nothing about them, really, and it was just that one chance, really.
I think Chelsea just need to get to the summer now. I really think the pressure is once again on Potter. The money they have spent is just... I mean, I'm not one to read into transfer costs because I don't care. Like, realistically, people say it's fans' money. It's not really. It's TV companies' money. If Chelsea want to throw their money around the way they do, you know, they clearly are within the rules because otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. This game, for me, will define someone's season. But in reality, Chelsea just have to get through the season. They just have to go on a run, win a few games, try and salvage something where they can. You know, potentially a few runs in the league, you know, go unbeaten for 6 games, just try and get a bit of strength back. Liverpool, for me, I don't know where they are. I still think they can turn it back round, but there's no way I want to make a defining bet as such on X to beat Y. So what I did was I took a look at a little bet builder for the 90 minutes, both teams to get a card, over 0 goals in the match. Might want to change that to over 1. I think both defences look pretty vulnerable. Each to get 1 or more corners and both teams to score in the match. So you can take out that over 0 goals. 13-10, I thought it was a 90-minute bet. I'd be surprised if Potter's not going to try and get some goals soon for Chelsea in terms of they've got to look better going forward. Easier said than done. But they have got numbers coming back through. They've obviously got a lot of injuries, but I don't really care about the injuries. When you've got their strong squad depth, they should be doing things. So that was kind of the bet I pieced together for the game. I don't think it's easy to call, if I'm honest. I just wanted something to enjoy for the 90, and that's kind of what I came up with for 12:30 kickoff.
I mean, we spoke about potential managers getting sacked and being under threat. Is Graham Potter in that conversation, do you reckon?
No, I think that win against Palace has probably bought him another 3 games without real pressure. If he goes, realistically, Mo Salah goes and scores 2 in this game, you're not shocked, are you? If Liverpool come back to form and put Chelsea back in their place, you're not surprised. So for me, I think Potter will have a bit more time. Also, there's not much benefit to sacking him now, is there?
I mean, not really, because it's not like, to me, it doesn't seem like it's Graham Potter who's making a lot of these transfers. Boz, I'm not sure about you, but it does seem like it's this American owner, Todd Bowley, who is making these transfers. So it's not going to be an argument that, they can get a new manager in before the transfer window ends and they can get some of his signings in, because it seems like under this American ownership that whoever comes in, it's going to be the owner's signings.
I mean, just looking at Chelsea's run of fixtures, Liverpool, you can see them getting beat there potentially. Fulham at home, they'll want revenge, won't they, for the other week? West Ham away, suddenly a huge game. Potentially West Ham have got a new manager bounce in there. They've had a chance to settle down a bit. Then he plays the Champions League first leg against Dortmund. And then it's Southampton. If he hasn't gone on a bit of a run before you reach, then he has to play Spurs away, the other leg of Dortmund, and it starts getting a bit easier than looking on paper. But I don't know. I just think Chelsea just got to get through the season. If you can go on a run in one of the cups that they're still in, happy days. But for me, Jake, this is very much a watching brief game. I won't be betting anything significant on it. I'll enjoy it, but it does maybe stink of a draw, but we'll wait and see. I just can't be too confident on either side, but I'm very curious to see how the season goes for both these clubs.
Yeah, I agree fully. And it's another unwritten rule of betting that you avoid the early kickoff on a Saturday. It sometimes can be a stinky game. But that is the first of 2 massive games in the Premier League this weekend that are being televised. The second being Arsenal against Man United, which is the Super Sunday half-4 game. Massive game. And it really seems like this is a game where Arsenal will prove their title credentials, or Man United can prove that they are firmly in a title race. How do you think this is going to go, Boz?
I'm actually with you. Probably not as confident as you, but I'd be fairly sure Arsenal get the 3 points here. Been incredibly impressed with Arsenal this season. Really hard to find fault with them. They've had knocks with the likes of Gabriel Jesus getting injured. Eddie Nketiah has come in, proven what a talent he is in my book. I think the most exciting player Arsenal have for me is Martin Odegaard. I love watching him. He 100% is a generational talent waiting to happen. I really think he is. He makes people forget how young he is, Jake. He's not an old player. He's even money for a goal or an assist this weekend against United. I think he'll get a bit more freedom with Casemiro out as well. In terms of picking up the ball and being able to run with it. I don't know who will come in. Fred, McTominay, for me, just not that same level. Casemiro has taken Man United to another level. They were very good against Palace, I thought, at times. They've been very good. Obviously against your boys, City, they did what they needed to do. The goal was controversial, but still got the win. I just don't think Man United are the finished article yet. That game against Palace a few years ago, if that had been going back a bit longer, a Ferguson team wouldn't have conceded that goal. It just wouldn't have happened at the end of the game. A Van Gaal team would have done. A Moyes team would have probably lost the game. So he's definitely made strides. I don't think they're quite there yet. And I think this is a very impressive Arsenal side, which is what I think you're going to tell me as well.
Yeah, so my pick for this one's Arsenal and a -1 handicap, and that is mainly down to Casemiro being out suspended. I mean, that tackle that he made on Wednesday night, I thought there was a chance it could have been a red card, to be honest. He went up, studs up on the knee, but it was a challenge that the commentators made a massive deal about, and they made a deal about it for the right reasons, because Casemiro has made them tick a lot this season and in the past few weeks, and it's a case of who will come in and replace him. Will it be Fred? Will it be McTominay? There's just not the strength and depth in that position that Manchester United need, and it may be that just causes that midfield of Arsenal just to run riot. I mean, Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard, they've just all been incredible for Arsenal, and that performance against Spurs last week, and I know Spurs on the day can throw in an absolute stinker, but Arsenal were really impressive. And the -1 handicap is 5-2, so it's decent odds too. I mean, you mentioned Odegaard, 24 years old he is.
Is he 24?
24, yeah. So last Saturday, he was 20-1 to get the PFA Player of the Year award. And now today, 4-1. So that shows just how drastically it changes. You know that it's the footballers who vote for the award, and the footballers love to get some sort of attacking playmaker in there. I know De Bruyne's won it in the past, where he probably shouldn't have won it in one of the years. But 4-1's the max price you can get on that now. And them markets are interesting. I think we'll speak about them further when Farley's here next week. But the PFA young player and the player markets are interesting, because Arsenal players are starting to just come down more and more as the season goes on.
They shouldn't they, Jake? They're going to win the title, realistically.
100%,
I'll put it to you now. If they win this game against United, they shouldn't lose the title from here, should they?
They shouldn't, no. Realistically, they shouldn't. I mean, they've got City at home and City away still to play. So they are two massive, massive, massive games. But you just feel like with this Arsenal team, they can go and beat anyone. Their players seem up for it. And I'm not sure about you, Buzz, but this Arsenal team's starting to be, in my mind, a bit like the Leicester team when they won the league. I've spent 3 or 4 months going, no, not a chance they're going to win it, not a chance. And it's probably only going to take me till March time where I'm finally like, yeah, Arsenal are going to win the league now.
Yeah, it's the momentum, isn't it? It's not ceasing. And it's possibly because it's a team, it's nowhere near the scale of Leicester, but it's a team we didn't think would be title contenders, and it's a team that in recent history have blown up when things have gone well. And I think Arteta will win manager of the season. It's him or the Fulham boss for me. But, it's going to be very interesting to see how they get on. Right, we're going to whiz through banker, bust, and draw. Always love this feature. Let's see if we can get a full house this week. I'm going to kick off, and I've gone a little bit left field with my banker. I've gone Brighton, even money away at Leicester to get the win. James Maddison might be back for Leicester, but I don't think he'll play 90 minutes. Leicester, for me, are in real bother once again. Brighton are a team going places. They've dealt with this Trossard issue seemingly brilliantly. He's going to head off to Arsenal. They've said, see you later, and they'll go and replace him. Moses Caicedo they need to hold on to. I do worry that if he goes as well, that'll be an issue for them. But realistically, Jake, for me, I think Brighton are even money against her. And I don't think people realise just how much bother Leicester could be in. They still haven't spent any January money unless I've missed something. And they just don't seem... I don't know. They don't seem to have... They had these flashes, didn't they, where Rodgers came back from the brink once, but I don't know if he can get away with it again. And everyone else around them... Bournemouth spending money, Southampton trying to spend a bit of money, West Ham getting Danny Ings in. And I'm looking at the teams below them, and when they're all spending, you just think they're strengthening while you're standing still, and you're not great. So, yeah, Brighton, even money for me. Who's your banker this week, Jake?
I think this is the first time I'm actually going to put City as the banker for me. Usually I'm like proper pessimistic, and I'm like, no chance. But Wolves at home Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoff. I just think we're going to beat Wolves. And I mean, there's a lot of points away from Arsenal, but us beating Wolves in that 2 o'clock game may actually put a bit of pressure on Arsenal going into that half-4 game too. They're going to be looking at that and thinking, if I know we're recording this before the Spurs game, but City beat Spurs, City beat Wolves on Sunday, they go into that game only 2 points behind Arsenal. So there may be a bit of pressure, but City are 1-7, I think, will beat Wolves, even though Wolves have impressed me, actually. So
I wouldn't expect you to be cheering for United too many times, but I'm sure you'll have your United on fantastic for 36.
Maybe so, maybe so. Do you want me to go straight into my bust?
Yeah, go on. Who are you busting this
Because
week?
my bust is gonna. I don't know if it'll upset you or you might go a little bit similar, but I'm going for Newcastle. Newcastle against Palace. That Saturday 5:30 game. Palace fans are going to be absolutely buzzing for it, and a lot of people, including Sky Sports Premier League's Twitter channel, also said that Palace robbed United of 3 points last night. And I thought that was a little bit harsh because chances were created. David De Gea made some absolutely incredible saves. And Newcastle, as impressive as they are, I'm about 80% sure they're going to be without Bruno Guimaraes this weekend because he got a pretty nasty looking ankle injury last game. And I saw his missus put a picture of his ankle up on Instagram that looked like it was ballooned. So it may be that he misses that game, and he's a massive miss for them too. So, yeah, I just feel like Newcastle shouldn't be anywhere near the price that they are, to be honest. That's the main thing in that. 17 to 20 they are in some places. It's just a bit too short for me.
Yeah, I kind of actually agreed with you because I've put bust of Newcastle. It's more of a price thing than anything else. Palace is a tricky place to go. Maybe we've stopped the rot by getting that point against United. My concern would be, I know we held United to just the one goal, is we create a lot, but we don't have a natural 30 goal a season striker. Jordan Ayew seems to somehow create amazing chances and then miss the easy bits, scores the worldies, misses the easy bits. Eduardo, yeah, he's okay. That's what we're lacking. You know, there were rumblings we might have been in for Danny Ings, who's ended up. I don't think he'd actually fit Palace that well personally. So I think West Ham will do well with him, but we do need some goals. So if we can keep it to 0-0 at half time, I just thought there's probably a point in it for Palace. I think Newcastle at this stage would take a point away from home just to keep that momentum going. Arguably, they were a little bit lucky against Fulham, Jake, with the double hit penalty and then the last minute goal.
Yeah, arguably, definitely. They didn't really create many chances, but as the commentary team said that day, that's the sign of a really good team where they'll pull it out of the bag and get a 1-0 win.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. Who are you going for your draw? I think we're both in relegation candidate territory here.
Yeah, looking at the fixtures this weekend, I feel like all 4 of the Saturday 3:00 games, you could probably make a case for them to be a draw. I mean, we've got Bournemouth Forest, Leicester Brighton, Southampton Villa, and West Ham Everton. All 4 of them, I can kind of see them ending up a draw apart from the Brighton one. But it's Bournemouth Forest I've gone for as the draw in this one. And they're 2 sides that, as with a lot of teams around that bottom end of the table, need the points. Forest have actually been a little bit more impressive in the past few weeks and they've really pushed on, whereas Bournemouth have looked a bit stinky. But I think if Bournemouth have any chance of staying up, they need to get something out of this game. And I can only really see it being a point, to be honest.
Yeah, I do think Gary O'Neill's walking a bit of a tightrope. New owners have come in and seemingly been fairly okay with him, but I don't think they're going to continue to be that, especially if they're spending big money. I just don't know. It just seems odd to me that he's not under a bit more pressure. He was 25 to 1 when we started recording this to go. Okay, you probably need West Ham, Everton to be a draw, which is what I'm backing. I think West Ham Everton will be a nervy game. I definitely would be backing the draw at half time. It's going to be a 1-goal decider at best. I think unders is a great shout. Both sides are going to be nervous and edgy. Danny Ings does have quite a good record against Everton, I know. So if he's registered to play in time, that'll be curious and maybe one that people will get involved in for first goal scorer. Everton might actually suit the fact that they're away from home. The drama they have to deal with at Goodison is a little bit tricky, let's be honest. There's a lot of nonsense going around, a lot of issues with the board, fans, stopping the players. Potentially going away down to London, yes, they'll have the away supporters there to give them a bit of stick, but they don't have the same issues to deal with. They play a West Ham side that are naturally going to get the crowd on their backs the moment they don't do something right with the ball because they're tense. They've got a manager under pressure. So the draw for me looks the most natural result here. I think as well, as a Gary O'Neill next to go backer, I need this to be a draw and I need Bournemouth to lose. And then Bournemouth end up bottom if Southampton get anything because of their goal difference. I do think I'm going to call it now, Jake. Double sacking this weekend. By
Ooh,
Monday, we'll see a double sacking, I think.
that is a big shout. But I can see it too, to be honest, because how many times in the last couple of days have we seen betting suspended on the manager to go and stuff like that, and nothing's happened?
Yeah, Sean Dyche is sat there, Jake. Do you want to be the first club to get rid of your manager so you get access to him? Or do you risk being the second or third club to sack your manager in this spell and then find that he's already gone? Or you're too far from being... The other thing at the moment is we're not quite as far through the season as we normally would be because of the World Cup. It's a bit deceptive. There's not all hope is lost for any of these teams down here if they move quickly. They've also still got 10 days of the transfer window. So... For my money, I think they need to hurry up and someone needs to sack someone, and it'll be like buses; they'll come along at once.
Someone does. Yeah. I saw a little rumor today that if West Ham get rid of Moyes, he might end up back at Goodison, which would be just a mad story. But who knows?
There's a lot of I can see a lot of logic to it. He's done a good job. The problem is, I always like a manager that's gone away and taken a break. I think his brain would be so fried. Maybe it's a good short-term appointment to the end of the season, but
yeah.
There'll be plenty of passion in his voice. He'll want to prove things wrong. Gosh, that'd be wild. Right, Jake, we need to get your passport stamped because you've got a foreign footy bet for us.
Yeah, so foreign footy this week sees me heading to Spain and...
Oh, hang on. Well done. Last week, you got the lot, did you not? Taking on PSG.
Yes. Took on PSG last week. Rennes our draw, and PSG ended up getting beat, so... That was a mad shout. Farley had a bet for Napoli to beat Juve, I think, 19-20. Napoli went and won that 5-1. So we did well last week in the foreign footy bets. And this week, I've tried to look at a bit more of the same value in terms of like a winner and draw or a draw no bet. And I have gone for Bilbao to get, the draw no bet evens against Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid come into this game off a 3-1 loss to Barcelona in the Super Cup. So there's going to be a bit of negativity around the camp. And the last La Liga game too, they got beat away at Villarreal. So it may be a case of the team not really being up for this game. I mean, I looked at Bilbao our draw again, similar to what I did last week, and the odds for that were really short, like 8-13. So it's not really worth it for me for that. But draw no bet evens just seems like a great price, especially considering Bilbao are unbeaten in the last 5 games at home too. So they are a side who have a lot of talent. They have players like Inaki Williams and a few others. And they'll be up for this game again against Real Madrid, who, let's be honest, whenever a side in the Liga plays Real Madrid, they try and step up for it. They're a massive team. So, yeah, I just think evens, great price. Again, the foreign footy is a bit of a minefield for us now and then. I know that Farley likes to go and pick some random Austrian football here and there. There's going to be none of that this week with Farley not being here, so I'm going to stick with the Liga.
I am very much taking the Brexit means Brexit quite literally and sticking at home, but I'm not going for the bread and butter of the EFL, Jake. You are endeavouring to try and find us some value there.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a different week for me this week because usually with EFL, I tend to stay away from it, or I see one bet and one little bet that looks like a good price. There's 3 little bets for me this week that I wouldn't be having massive money on, but in terms of stats and form, they just look like really good betting value. So first up's Luton to beat Wigan at 8-5. Now that is going to be at Wigan. Luton did beat Wigan at Wigan 2 nights ago in the FA Cup in a replay, and Wigan do just look stinky. I mean, they've got Colo Torre as manager, and he's not come in and changed fortunes around at all. They've not won in 9 games, so they're just not really in any sort of form. Whereas Luton, obviously, they lost Nathan Jones to Southampton, and then they brought in Rob Edwards, and Rob Edwards has really put the team up. I mean, when they lost Nathan Jones at first, they had a bit of a poor spell of form, but now they look like a good side again, Luton. And odds of, I mean, the stinky odds, 8-5. I mean, we don't really see 8-5 in betting that often, but 8-5 is a very decent price if you want to put it in an ACCA or put it in any sort of bet that you have. I mean, it's a good price. Other championship games. There's a championship game on the Sunday, which is Borough against Sunderland.
Oof.
That's become a bit of a more high and local derby in recent years, with neither side, Sunderland especially, not being able to play Newcastle in recent years due to the divisions. But these two sides have begun like a bit more of a hatred for each other in recent years. But I've got Middlesbrough to beat Sunderland, and it's at Sunderland too. Now, Sunderland did get beat last time out at home to Swansea by 3-1, whereas Middlesbrough have won the last 4 games in the Championship and do look like a good side under Michael Carrick. I know Farley last week, or the week before it was waxing lyrical about Carrick and saying that Middlesbrough look good under him. And I agree. I think that he's come in and he's got his own playing style and made the team look well. And again, winning 4 games in a row in the Championship is no mean feat, especially with the division how it's looking at the minute. So odds of 29-20 for them to win on Sunday. I mean, it's a good bet to have, and it's something that you may want to put in a little Sunday acca. I mean, Borough to win and both teams to score looks a decent bet to it, around 4-1. So, yeah, that's also a good bet to have in the Championship. And then finally, it wouldn't be an at odds pod without mentioning Plymouth. Farley's not here. Farley can't give it the big one, but 8-15, it's not a massive price, but it's something that you should probably look at putting in an acca if you are having a football acca on a Saturday. I mean, Plymouth won 12, lost 1 at home so far this season. Cheltenham haven't beat Plymouth in the last 3 games. I'm pretty sure if Farley was on this week's pod,
he would be upsetting all the Cheltenham Town fans. He's done that.
Exactly. How many times in the past few months has Farley gone in on Cheltenham Town saying he hates Cheltenham, they're rubbish? And I feel part of me's trying to get the spirit of Farley in me. I'm not going to say tops off if you don't, none of that stuff. But 8-15 is a price that, again, a Saturday acca, I'm going to be putting this in my acca. Plymouth for a good side.
Tops on at all times, please, Jake. Right, we'll come to the racing corner because Jake's had to carry us this week, to be frank, with his EFL and Foreign Footy. But Cheltenham is looming. Unfortunately for racing this weekend, it looks like, I've filmed this ahead of the inspections. It does look like we're going to probably lose a couple of fixtures. Maybe we'll lose another Ascot fixture, which would be a real shame. I suspect the Clarence House, if it's lost, will move to Cheltenham Trials Day the following weekend, the 28th. That's a big weekend of racing. Good stuff at Donny on the 28th and Cheltenham Trials Day the 28th in its own right. Then we've got the Dublin Racing Festival. So last chance you're going to have to really start seeing these Cheltenham runners or potential Cheltenham runners. I didn't have a strong view on an anti-post bet this week to add to the list. One thing to say is Edwardstone, we put him up at 16-1 for the Champion Chase. He's now 11-4, and he was due to take on an Ergamine, the 8-11 favourite for the Champion Chase. Unfortunately, the weather has conspired against us, and that won't happen probably Saturday. There is a chance we'll have it next Saturday. I don't know if both will then run. And it was more or less a match. There was only one other horse in this contest, so it was very interesting to see how he'd have got on. If he'd beaten him, we'd have been sat on a really impressive price. If he got close, I'd be fine. I think going to Cheltenham, he'll be a better horse. I started to have a look around just to try and find a bit of value. It's very hard this year. The anti-post markets just don't seem to have as much juice in as they used to. There is a horse at 25-1, though, for the cross-country that I think could possibly place and maybe cause a bit of an upset. I saw a video of Snow Leopardess. Now, it's a name you might remember. There was a lot of hype about this horse running in the Grand National, going back a few years now. Didn't seem to quite get home that day from memory. I can't quite remember, but she's a really nice mare, and she's been absolutely brilliant for Charlie Longston, who trained her, and Charlie's having a very good season. I just have a sneaky feeling, having seen the horse, someone put a video up of the horse schooling over the fences at Cheltenham that are on the cross-country course. So obviously she'd been taken for an away day there to see how she goes. I really like this horse. I think there's so much to potentially get excited about her running in this kind of event. The cross-country does throw open some really interesting types. I just wonder if maybe this is the type of race that will suit her. She's 25-1. It's a very small each way play. Delta Wert, the favourite, got the better of Tiger Roll and broke everyone's hearts last year. He looks the one to beat, but at 25-1, I'm prepared to stick a bullet up there, Jake, and just go, let's see how we get on at 25s each way.
It's a great price, massive, massive price. If Edwardstone wasn't to run next week, straight to Cheltenham then?
Yeah, they could reschedule it at Cheltenham. He
Yeah.
does like to keep him busy, and he unseated at Kempton last time out, having won the Tingle Creek. So he's had plenty of running already. I don't think they'd want to take in another race, if I'm honest with you, Jake. The clock gets too close. I could be proved wrong there. For my money, I don't mind if he goes to Cheltenham to take on a Nergamine. It might actually suit him better, but I'm curious to see how this ends up. People moan about small field sizes, but if you've got two horses rated how highly they are against each other, you only need another one in there to make the pace. And suddenly, I think we've got ourselves a cracking contest. So I hope they reschedule it. Who knows? We might see some other horses in there. They might not run, but yeah, it's one of our better anti-post bets. Put it that way.
Fingers crossed. And again, we've got a decent price ticket waiting for it too. Should we just go straight into our best bet now for the weekend? We'll wrap up the pod for this week. Usually we give a treble, but obviously with Farley not being here, it goes into a double. So yeah, I'll give my pick first. I mean, we've spoke about this earlier. I tipped Arsenal at -1 in that game against United, and I'm going to go for that as my best bet for the week. I'm that confident that Arsenal are going to absolutely wipe the floor with United this week. I think it's going to be 3 or 4-0, to be honest with you. And at 5-2, it's a decent price. I usually come into this best bet section with a little stinky 8-13, 8-11. It's about time that I come into it with a bit of a decent price. What do you reckon for your bet, Boz?
Well, I'm chopping and changing around here. There's a market I really enjoy. I've kind of given up my shots on target bet to move to score or assist, but actually there's a new market. Well, I say new. A few bookies have it. Player to commit fouls.
Okay.
I never really understand why players that probably will play the duration of the game in central midfield are usually around even money, 11-10, to commit 2 or more fouls. There's a couple that stand out in the Chelsea-Liverpool game, actually. Cesar Azpilicueta is 11-10 to commit 2 or more fouls. If he's probably not necessarily nailed on starter, I don't want to probably put him up. Who do you think will start in centre mid, though, Jake, for Liverpool?
For Liverpool,
Do you think we'll have Fabinho? Do you think we'll have Keita? Do you think we'll have Henderson?
I think we'll have Fabinho. I think
Henderson,
potentially, yeah. What's his price?
Well, Henderson is 11-8 for 2 or more fouls. If he starts the game, I'll be staggered if he's not got one in the book before 30 minutes. It should be a combatant kind of game, a congested midfield. I really like that price at 11-8. It will be a wait to see if the team news comes out, but if he starts for me, you know what Henderson's like in these games. He puffs his chest out. He likes to lead by example, and Liverpool will want, the fans will demand a passionate showing, and he's going to knock people off the ball. He's going to give fouls away left, right, and centre. So if he starts for me 11-8, he's going to be my banker bet.
Nice. Now we're getting odds of around 15-2 for that double. So it's not a bad price at all. Again, like you said, Boz, wait and see starting lineups, team news, see what's going to happen with that game, and then go from there, really.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, a big thank you for everyone for watching. Do like, subscribe, tell your friends about the video. Jake, me and Sam really appreciate all those that you do. Get your questions in as well. Let us know how you're getting on and post your best bets for the weekend in the comments below. We love to hear your winners and losers. Always enjoy those stories. But that's it from Jake and me. Take care, gamble responsibly, and have a cracking weekend.
Bye.